Hey, and welcome back to the channel. Let's get your shift together. I'm Coach Adriana, and I empower survivors of narcissistic abuse to heal, set boundaries, and live life on their own terms. In today's video, I'm going to be unpacking a famous one-liner from the Narcissists playbook, just, one of their classic hits that they all say to their targets, and that is, "You're remembering wrong." Before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Feel free to like this video and leave a comment if this resonates with you. So let's dive right into it. Let's start with a little translation of what exactly a narcissist means when they say that you're remembering wrong. If we had some sort of device that could translate narc to English and you fed it the line, "You're remembering wrong," it would probably say something along the lines of, "You are actually remembering correctly. And this is why I'm telling you that you're remembering wrong, because the truth is not a good look for me. Since you called me out on my shit and accountability isn't really my thing, I'm gonna make you question your reality. My goal is to make you feel like you're going crazy, so you will comply with my version of reality and I can evade accountability. And this way you get to believe that you have memory issues and I get to escape accountability at the expense of your mental health." I think it's a great trade-off. And so this is gaslighting. When you try to call a narcissist out on something that happens, even if it was 5 minutes ago, it doesn't even have to be something that was like far in the past. It could literally be the recent past. And it's something that they don't want to self-reflect on. They will tell you that you're remembering wrong and start making you question your reality. And that's what gaslighting is. I have a video on my channel called Gaslighting 101. Feel free to check it out for a deeper dive into exactly what gaslighting is. But long story short, it is when a narcissist tries to make you question your reality, question your sanity, makes you think that you're going crazy and that the truth is not the truth. And they are so confident when they're gaslighting you that it's really easy to believe that you are going crazy. And the thing is, narcissists only target the people closest to them. So they would have already built that trust with you through the cycle of abuse with the love bombing stage by being trustworthy and, making you feel like you can trust them. And then of course we go into the devaluation stage where they start treating you like crap and gaslighting you and telling you you're remembering wrong and making you feel like crap about yourself. And then they discard, maybe it's for 5 minutes, maybe it's for 5 years, doesn't matter. And then rinse and repeat, the cycle goes on over and over and over again. And it can be really hard to separate fact from gaslighting a lot of the times, because when you are in that bubble and you are in that mind fuck and there's all of these repressed emotions swirling around influencing what you believe and how you view the situation, it's not something that you can just sort of snap out of, right? So doing the inner work is really going to be helpful for you to be able to heal from this and start being able to see reality as reality. And if you don't know where to start, I would encourage you to take my free quiz at the link in the description, and the results are going to have instructions on how you can start taking baby steps to do that inner work. Now let's dive a little bit deeper into not remembering correctly, and I'm going to share a bit of my own story as I talk about this. So I personally, back in the day, in my 20s, when I was still living with my narcissistic mother, I actually used to search on Google if it was possible to get dementia in your 20s. I honestly thought I was losing my mind and I had some serious memory issues, because the way I would remember reality was not the way that my mother remembered reality, and she was so confident and persistent that her version of reality was the truth. So I really honestly started to believe that my brain was disintegrating in some way in my 20s. But it turns out that I was being coerced into not trusting the actual reality that was right in front of me, because the real reality was not convenient or a good look for my late narcissistic mother. The truth, the reality, the facts, the receipts really put her in a negative light, but the truth is she put herself in that negative light by choosing her behavior. And so the next best option for her, because accountability was just not her thing, was to convince me that I was making shit up. Here's some story time, because why not? I remember one incident that really made me think I was going insane. So my mother had me very late. She was 45 when she had me, and this was in the late 80s. So I technically shouldn't even exist, and it's surprising that I don't have more problems than I already do. But yeah, anyways, she had me super late. I remember when I was 9 years old, I thought my mother was 43 or 44 years old. And it's not something I ever verified, because I was 9 years old. Why would I, you just believe that your mother is telling you the truth. And I remember vividly being in the backyard with my grandfather, and it was like the day before my mother's birthday. So she would have been turning 44. And so I said to my grandfather, like, oh, mom's gonna be 44. I don't remember what exactly I was saying, but like, you know, tomorrow is my mother's 44th birthday or something. And he looks at me and he's like, she's gonna be 54. And I was like, what? Like, excuse me? And he said, like, no, like, she is 54. She was born in 1943. And I'm like, no, she told me she was born in 1953. Like, she's not that old. What are you talking about? And he said, he just kind of was like, I don't know what she told you, but I'm her dad. I think I would know, you know, like, what her real age was. And I'm paraphrasing here because he was probably talking in Italian dialect, and I just not even gonna try translating that right now. And I just remember like screaming in the backyard. I was freaking out because I couldn't believe, you know, first of all, it was just like the betrayal that my mother lied to me about her age. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. And then, you know, I just always had this fear around lifespans. So I was like, oh my God, like, she's gonna die 10 years sooner than I thought she was gonna die. And what's gonna happen to me? Like, I was just like in such a ball of anxiety. And so I remember running to her crying, saying like, you know, Nonno says you're 53, not 43. What's going on? And she basically then made herself into the victim and said that she had to lie to me because if she didn't, and I knew her real age and I told my friends at school how old my mother really was, then I would get made fun of and bullied for having an old mother. And I was already getting bullied in general. I was the laughing stock of my school. The kids were not nice to me. I was sent home crying every day. I was called ugly, like all the things, anything that I did, they would all make fun of me. I was just like the scapegoat at school. And so, you know, I was already being bullied. And so for her, you know, in hindsight, now that I'm remembering all of this, for her to say that she didn't want me to get bullied because of her age, like, you know, like, don't worry, there's plenty of things for the kids to bully me about already. I think like your age would have been like the least of my concerns, but okay. And then we kind of like never talked about it again. And then I remember it was like 2016 or something, and it was my birthday and we were with my now in-laws and my now husband, and somehow like the topic of like lying about age came up. And so this was before my healing journey. This was before I knew better than to say things to her. I brought it up that like, oh yeah, remember like you lied to me about your age. You told me you were 10 years younger when I was a kid. And then I found out because Nonno told me in the backyard, and she's like, what are you talking about? I never lied to you about my age. I would never do that. How could you do this to me? You're embarrassing me in front of now husband's parents. And I was like, wow, okay. The rest of that evening turned into even more of a shit show, but I won't get into that. But anyways, moral of the story, she completely gaslit me about a core memory, a core traumatic memory that I had as a child. I will probably never forget that. If I happen to make it to my 80s, I will probably still remember that childhood memory of being in the backyard with my nonno and him telling me that my mother told me the wrong age that she was. And, you know, for her to try to gaslight me that night, that she would never do something like that, it didn't work because I really, truly remembered that, and it was something that I never would have forgotten. So anyways, shortly before that incident in 2016, I actually did finally move out of her house. Maybe I'll make another video about financial abuse, but I had to take on debt in order to move out because she, you know, made it impossible for me to move out. But I was starting to become so much more and more aware of narcissism in that time period. And I started learning about, you know, gaslighting and all that kind of stuff. So in order for me to settle my anxiety about something being wrong with my memory, because honestly, I really believed that I had like severe memory issues. And I'm not saying that this is the right thing to do. And if you choose to do this, make sure that you live in a one-party consent part of the world. But I decided to secretly record a few conversations that I had with her because I wanted to make sure that I heard her correctly and that I wasn't misconstruing anything if that topic were to come up again. And so sure enough, when she denied what she had said to me in some of those conversations, I would re-listen to those recordings, and I realized that I was not having memory issues at all. She was just so confident in her lies and was trying her best to gaslight me and make me believe that I was going crazy. I would then go on to learn years later, once I started my actual healing journey in 2019, that it is not in fact normal to have to document a conversation and check to make sure that you're not having some sort of serious brain problem when you're talking to somebody. But that's what gaslighting does to you. And so all of that to say that if the narcissist in your life is telling you that you are remembering wrong, I just want to remind you that there is nothing wrong with your memory. You are just being gaslit. And gaslighting is a manipulation tactic to make you question your reality and make you think that something is wrong with you so that the narcissist can evade accountability, because they're always going to evade accountability at the end of the day. And by inducing these feelings of guilt, shame, and fear within you, right? Guilt that you're accusing them of something that they supposedly didn't do because they're so confident that they didn't do the thing that they did and I'm remembering wrong. Shame that there is something wrong with your memory, and fear of like, holy shit, there is something so fundamentally wrong with my brain and this is really fucking scary. And anybody who's in the state of guilt, shame, or fear is easier to control, and that is the only reason that they do that. So the more that you become aware of what gaslighting is and the fact that pretty much every narcissist says to their target that you're remembering wrong, and how much of a textbook, playbook, narcissistic quote that is, and how not true it is because you are actually remembering correctly, that can help you start being grounded in reality. And you know, another thing that I'm gonna mention is don't waste your time trying to show the narcissist in your life the truth, because it doesn't matter how much evidence you have. It doesn't matter if you literally have documentation that is irrefutable. They will keep gaslighting you, and you will get tired, and you will get more and more tired the more you try and get through this person. It's just not gonna happen. I can tell you from firsthand experience, I tried this. A lot of my clients have tried this, and it got me and them absolutely nowhere but more tired and with more layers of trauma to have to heal from. And so just to sort of end off this story with my late narcissistic mother, how does this story end after all? Well, I would eventually go on to be a mixture of low and no contact with her. And it only turned into low contact because she started exhibiting some signs of dementia, and I just, wanted to maybe keep a bit of an eye on her so I could call senior services and report that, she needs some help and I am not involved in it. But she ended up having a heart attack and passing away about a year after I opened it up to low contact with her. Maybe I'll make another video with that story. Let me know in the comments if you want to hear about it. But anyways, she did pass away 4 years ago, and I can tell you with complete honesty to my core that I have zero regrets on having boundaries with her. If I have to regret something, the only regret would be that I didn't go no and low contact with her much sooner than I already had. I could also maybe say I regret not having moved out sooner than I did, but again, like, she kept me in such a crazy financial situation that it was pretty much impossible, and it took being pushed to my absolute limit and finding out some crazy truth bombs to actually get me to see the real reality for what it was and see her for exactly who she was, to motivate me to get the fuck out of there as soon as possible. And so I also share this to help anybody who does have a narcissistic parent who is living and maybe aging at this point. And if you're worried about setting a boundary with your narcissistic parent because what if they die? And what if I regret this when they die? Then I hope that this helps you. At the end of the day, we're all gonna die, right? So if you are gonna go low or no contact, just have that understanding that like tomorrow is not promised. And I wanna sort of maybe flip it onto you a little bit by telling you that like, what if you don't get tomorrow, right? Anything can happen. Nothing is guaranteed in this life. We do not have a guarantee of an amount of time that we have left on this planet. And so what if you were to reach your deathbed or die suddenly and you did not give yourself a chance to do something empowering that is right for you by setting a low or no contact with a narcissistic parent if it is safe for you to do so at this time. I didn't expect to get that philosophical in this video, but I hope this was helpful. Once again, check out the link in the description. Take my free quiz on uncovering your path to freedom after narcissistic abuse. The results will really give you a great idea on how to start doing that deep inner emotional work. If you want to take it a few steps further, I do have 2 group coaching options for you. I have the Freedom Program that you can join anytime. If you check out the link in the description, there is an $800 discount that you can unlock if you sign up within the next 3 days, and it's 6 months long. It's a community group coaching program. There's still not that many people in it yet, so don't worry that there's like hundreds of people in it. They're absolutely not. It's a pretty small group right now. I don't know, maybe in the future, not so much, but right now is probably a really good time to get in and take advantage of that $800 discount. And in this community group coaching program, you get lifetime access to my Freedom course, which consists of 6 comprehensive modules to guide you through your healing journey. And for the 6 months that you are in the program, you get twice per month Q&A sessions with me live, where you can ask me anything and you can get support from fellow group members. Plus, this is something I never offer in my community programs, but you also get 2 one-on-one Voxer coaching days with me all day, twice per month. And on top of that, you get an entire community of fellow survivors who get what you're going through, and you can reach out to each other anytime within the community. So if that interests you, check out the link in the description. My other group coaching option is the Bulletproof Group Coaching Program. I only offer it twice per year, and you get like a million times more support than you would in the Freedom Program. There's 9 modules in the program, lifetime access to that, everyday Voxer support for the full 3 months, weekly group coaching calls, and so much more in the Bulletproof program, plus some exclusive bonuses if you do get in on the wait list. And it's limited to 8 people or less per group. So if something smaller and more intimate is your thing, get on the wait list for Bulletproof. If something that's a fraction of the price of Bulletproof and you're okay with more people being in the community and less support from me, but still you get supported by the people within the community, is more up your alley, unlock your $800 discount for the Freedom Group Coaching Program. That's all for today. I hope you found this video helpful. See you next time. Bye.